Get ready to hear the truth about America on a show that's not immune to the facts with your host, Dan Bongino.
Do I have some updates for you? Proud to be back in the new studio. Just a little bit of patience today with everything, please. That's all I ask. I respectfully ask because we've been dealing with so much. It's, the old drink it from a fire hose thing. Today's show brought to you by Beam. Go to shopbeam.com/Bongino. Use code Bongino for 47% off your first order. I've got a weekend update for you. Unfortunately, folks, it is my last one as we wrap up the last week of shows before this next turn in my life. Got a pretty interesting weekend update. Paula did a little bon voyage party for me this week. It was very nice. Paula's always taking good care of me. Big show, lot to discuss. Haley's show launches tonight at 6 p.m. I'll get to that. So much to talk about. Hey, do you know when your metabolism is working properly, you could feel the benefits in literally every aspect of your life? I found a valuable tool. Gives me insight to create improved metabolism for my body. It's called Lumen, L-U-M-E-N. Lumen is one of the world's first handheld metabolic coaches. It's a device that can help measure your metabolism through your breath. And on the app, it lets you know if you're burning fat or carbs and provides tailored guidance to help improve your nutrition, workout, sleep, and stress management. All you do is breathe into the Lumen first thing in the morning. It'll analyze your metabolism, indicating whether you're burning fat or carbs, and Lumen gives you a personalized nutrition plan for the day based on your measurements. Take the next step, improve your wellness. Go to lumen.me/Bongino to get 20% off your Lumen. That's lumen, Lumen.me/Bongino for 20% off your purchase. Thank you, Lumen, for sponsoring the show today. Statements of products have not been evaluated by the FDA and not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition. And our next sponsor today also is Patriot Mobile. Together, you and I have been fighting for the same thing, freedom, liberty, and the country we love. One of our biggest supporters over the years has been Patriot Mobile. They stuck with us through thick and thin. Thank you, guys. If you're part of the Bongino Army, check out Patriot Mobile, please. We need to keep supporting companies that share our values and what we believe in. You could switch to Patriot Mobile with confidence, knowing you'll get outstanding nationwide coverage because they operate on all three major networks. Not only do you have the Bongino guarantee, you'll get the Patriot Mobile coverage guarantee. Remember, every dollar you spend supports a company who believes in the First and Second Amendments, the sanctity of life, and our veterans and first responders. Switching is easy. Keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Their 100% U.S.-based customer support team will help you find the perfect plan for you, your family, even your business. So go to patriotmobile.com/Dan or call 972-PATRIOT. Get a free month of service with promo code Dan. Can't think of a single reason you should be on Patriot Mobile. That's patriotmobile.com/Dan or call 972-PATRIOT. All right, fellas, let's get this party started today. So we did the show live. We recorded. I don't want to lie to you guys. We recorded some of it in advance on Thursday. Friday, I had to take off. Was up doing some stuff up north. So you could probably tell if you go back and watch that I was looking in the wrong spot, which you would think, having been doing this forever. I kept looking at the monitor below. So today, I'm going to look at you in the camera and tell me in the chat if my eyes start dipping, because we are live today. I promise you, if I had a watch on, I'd show you. Oh, look, I can. Here, there's my phone. So there's the actual live chat. But out of respect for the guys who had to do a crash course in the new studio, Thursday, we had to kind of pre-record some of that just to be sure there were no major, foul-ups. These guys have been amazing. They have learned all of this new software. Guys, give a little wave. Go to show everybody you got to do it. There we go. Look at you. There you go. You see Justin, 7-foot-tall Justin, blocking out. Everyone's like the eclipse. You can barely see Guy or Michael in there. I just found out today Justin's 4 inches taller than Michael, who I thought was like 7 feet tall himself. I guess it's because they're sitting down all the time. I keep messing that up. So, weekend update for you. Paula was nice enough to throw a bon voyage party for me on Saturday night. All of my friends showed up at the house, and it was really an amazing moment and a party. Everybody had such nice things to say. I want to thank everybody who showed up. My friend Cleve, Steve, my friend Arvin. We had the Martin County Sheriff showed up, the nicest guy, John Budensenk. And thank you to Martin County Sheriff's Office for being so you know what I'm saying, on top of everything. We've had a lot of, obviously a lot of interest since the story became public, what I'll be doing next week. You guys are the best. But it was a wonderful party. It was good to see close friends. It was kind of more of an inner circle party. The guys were all there. Haley was there. Speaking of which, Haley's show launches tonight. the Evening Scroll with Haley Karania, 6 p.m. You can see it Eastern time tonight. The show is amazing. You saw a couple of her test runs last week. She is super talented, so give her a follow on Silverlock Media as they take this from me and going forward in the future. Friday night, I was up in D.C., though I hadn't been back there in a long time, and went to Bobby Van's Steakhouse. And I got to tell you, folks, it is interesting for life to come full 180 for me, you know. Well, actually, in this case, I take that back, 360. I made the mistake I always kind of knock other people for saying, hey, 360. No, 360, you're back in the same spot. And I was. Paula and I used to go to Bobby Van's when I worked in D.C., and she worked down the block at this company called SIA at the time. And to go back, the steak was amazing, by the way. It was just, it was an amazing experience to have just, you know, I just feel like it was a very kind of emotional to cross the bridge, look at the Jefferson Memorial again, and go back into the city I left years ago. So I'll be back there on Monday where I start my job. The media, again, was stunned. They were shocked. You guys saw my tweet this weekend? I had to address many media questions. Folks, they're unaware that there is a business model in the media where they sell these things called spots, sometimes known as advertisements. You guys ever heard of this model? Justin's like, I know it's new. It's about 100 years old, so it's about five times the length of Justin's life, but that they just figured that out. They just figured that out, how that works, so I addressed them en masse in a viral tweet this weekend. But thank you guys all for your patience with everything. I really appreciate it. All right, let's get to the show. So first, the Bongino rule is in, I don't even want to say full effect. It is in like full effect. There was a shooting at the White House involving the Secret Service. This is a Braveheart, Mel Gibson hold moment. I'm going to tell you a couple things about it, but first, here's some news coverage of what happened. Check this out.
And the US Secret Service has shot a man near the White House in Washington, D.C. That's according to our colleagues at NBC News in the States. It happened shortly after midnight, after an armed confrontation with law enforcement, according to the Secret Service there. They say local police had reported what they described as a suicidal individual who had possibly travelled to Washington, D.C. from Indiana. They later located a vehicle and spotted a person on foot who matched the description. They then brandished a firearm, the report says, and an armed confrontation ensued, during which shots were fired by Secret Service personnel, they've confirmed.
Sorry, someone told me we missed it. We missed the bell? Can't miss the bell. And then someone else in the chat said the sound is great. Thank you. The sound is super crisp in the studio. Much different than the old office, right? That was just a converted studio. Listen, a couple of things on this. Two big takeaways. Number one, on the hold front. Is this a suicide by cop situation where someone gets out of the car, wants to die, and intentionally creates a use of force situation where the police officer, to save their own life or someone else's, has to engage? Possibly. The evidence is certainly pointing in that direction. But I've seen so many conspiracies kind of jump up on Twitter. And the thing is, just hold. The information will come out over the course of the week. Let the investigators get over there and see what happened. And then we'll all formulate opinion. Again, the Bongino rule is this. Talk about a story. I'm talking about it right now. But there's no reason to jump to some final conclusion about what happened before the data sets come in. I mean, you guys all know this. I don't want to sound like a jerk. I'm not trying to be a tool. It's just let the data come in before you figure out what the math problem says. You need the data first. So just wait. Second, I get a ton of questions about this. And whenever there are use of force incidents at the White House, people are under this mistaken perception that the rules of engagement for Secret Service are different at the White House, and they're not. Secret Service agents and uniformed division officers, those are separate branches within the Secret Service. One's a federal investigator, 1811, one are uniformed police officers. But the rules of engagement are the exact same. There's no special rules of engagement there where, because it's the White House, you know, it's like kill on demand thing. That's not the way it works. That's not the way any of this works. That only happens in movies. So just hold. We'll take a breather on this. We'll readdress it if more stuff comes out later in the week, and we'll see what really happened. I'm sure as they start to dig into the background of what this individual and do like a social media scrub, we'll have an idea of what really went on, okay? So that was a big story this weekend. Also, breaking this weekend, President Trump, the winning will not stop. We are finally looking at a president, staring in the face of a president who is transactional. I know some people don't like that. I understand. There are still people in love with passionate speeches, and that's great. I like to speak passionately about stuff too. It's fantastic. It's good to be a good speaker. I hope you think that of me. If you don't, you don't. However, President Trump speaks passionately about stuff, but make no mistake, he is a transactional businessman. He wants results. He sees the world as a spreadsheet. This is an issue I am passionate about too, but I see the spreadsheets too. What the hell is the Department of Education doing? We've been funding this entity hundreds of billions of dollars over its decades in existence, and nobody can produce a single data set showing that education's gotten better. Here he is this weekend with Maria Bartiromo saying, listen, man, spreadsheets, kids. Is this a +1 or a -1? Because I don't see it. Check this out.
We want to bring the schools back to the states because we have the worst, literally, we have the worst education department and education in the world. We're ranked at the bottom of the list, and yet we're #1 when it comes to cost per pupil. We want to not only have school choice, which is important, but we want to bring it back to the states so the states can run the schools, and they will be every bit as good as the top educational departments anywhere in the world.
If there was ever an example of transactional President Trump, this is it. He doesn't want to hear your flowery fairy tales about how every single student deserves an education. Yes, he knows that. So do I. They do. But they're not getting it. Your taxpayer does. This is money taken from you, folks. It's not fake money. It's not monopoly money. It's not collect 250 because you were on Park Avenue, whatever it is. This is real money. Real money being lost because you're shuttling it to the federal government to take a cut, to send it back to the states for programs that don't work, and nobody seems to be paying attention to it outside of the conservative movement and President Trump. I asked last week, and these guys are good. Last week I said, you guys remember that story? It was from a couple of years ago. It was out of the Baltimore area media market. The story was almost unbelievable when I first saw the headline, to the point where I had to do one of those check it twice things. You ever shoot on the range and make sure it's empty? Like, check it twice. I had to check this one twice. Here's 7 on your side, ABC, local Baltimore. 23 Baltimore schools have 0 students proficient in math. State test results real. How the hell do you do that? How the hell do you have 0 students? You would think by chance, wait, it's not funny. Justin, am I crazy? Like by chance you would get one super genius kid in the class who, even though the instruction's not going well, can at least be proficient in math, right? Maybe he figured it out at home. Maybe they used the Khan Academy or something like that. How the hell do you have 23 schools with a donut, 0 students proficient in math?
It's kind of impressive.
It almost, like the level of failure, right? You're like, how did they do that? Michael, it's almost like they were trying. It's like, how do we get every single kid to not be proficient? We're not talking about excelling. We're just talking about like basic proficiency. How do you do that? Is this intentional? What are you doing? I told you when I ran for office in Maryland, there was this guy. He was not a Republican, by the way, but he met with us. And he said, Dan, you're looking at this all wrong. You think that a lot of these administrators and people in the education bureaucracy care about the kids. I said, well, I hope they do. He said, they don't. He said, it is a jobs program for them, and that is it. He said, that's all they see it as. How do I maintain my employment and my raises, and that's it. I got to tell you, I still remember that conversation. Folks, the left has been entirely collapsing. Moving on here. You know, I have this theory of what happened in the Donald Trump era for the left, not us. We're really good at analyzing our situation. We're getting better at diagnosing the left. But one of the things I've been talking about for years now is this kind of show your butts theory of politics for the left, where This is important. I want you to understand this because none of this segment is going to make any sense if you don't understand the mechanics of how this works. There's always been rage at Republicans. I mean, you guys remember, you're not that old, the guy crewing it. With George W. Bush and Mitt Romney, the Democrats, I understand, but on the other side of the political aisle, have always engaged in kind of viscerally personal politics with Republicans. Remember the whole George W. Bush, blood for oil, he's trying to kill us all, that kind of thing. Mitt Romney, the binder's full of women and all that stuff. But can we all agree there is nothing you've ever seen like the rage directed at Donald Trump? So what's the show your butts theory? Well, no one wants to see anybody. No one wants to see that. But the Democrats continue to do it. I was trying to explain this to Guy beforehand because he wanted to cut a piece out of the show. I'm like, no. This is exactly where I'm going with this. The show your butts theory is this. You got these Democrats showing the ugly side of them all the time. And you're like, why are they doing that? People don't, they're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to see it. Why do you keep doing it? It's because they can't stop. There's this perpetual rage machine on the left that just reviles Donald Trump. So what winds up happening is the Democrats are engaging in a repeated pattern of behavior that is counterproductive to their end goal of getting votes and approval from the public. But they have to one-up each other each time. Does that make sense? You show your butt. I'm going to show you everything. Oh, they can't stop. They have to constantly one-up each other. It is the exact opposite of transactional Donald Trump. Donald Trump sees the world as spreadsheets and business. The left is so involved in the passion of it that they feel like in order to get TV time and donors, that whoever does something crazy, they have to do something crazier. I want to start with this and you'll see what I mean. So there's this 13-year-old young man, DJ Daniel. This poor young man has cancer, something I've dealt with, not as severe as this young man has, DJ Daniel. But he gave this incredible and this emotional interview about Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump's supposed to be the cold-hearted fascist guy, if you believe the left. But Donald Trump brought this young man to the State of the Union. They gave him an honorary Secret Service badge. I reached out to Director Curran from the Secret Service and personally thanked him for doing it. I think it was an amazing gesture. I want you to watch him first. And the left refused at the State of the Union to even get up and acknowledge that this young man was there and had been through a real struggle all too many Americans are facing with cancer. Check this out.
But you want to know the craziest part? Because my mom bathes me and my brothers all together. And out of nowhere, I locked up. And then my dad was calling my name. And I started going to the slow thing. And he said, stop playing with me. And I started to act, I ain't gonna lie, I started to act slow. And then as soon as he said that, we was speeding all the way, running lights, going to the hospital. And then next thing you know, I was seizing on the table. They said, nah, we gonna have to go in his brain tonight. Ever since then, I had 13 brain surgeries. And that's how many times my personality has changed. And that's something that you don't hear from a terminally ill child. They had 5 months to live. I'm gonna keep on going until my gas tanks run out. And that's when God calls you home. You never know when God's gonna call you home. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my dad. I know he's pretty proud of me, and I'm pretty proud of him too. And I'd like to thank President Trump, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here today.
Yeah. I don't want to kill anybody's mood on a Monday morning. I'm really excited to be here for my last week. But I know as a 47-year-old, when I was maybe 46, 47, when I was diagnosed with cancer and we didn't know what kind, and they tell you it could be this, which is terminal, or it could be this, which is treatable. In that period between when I didn't know and when I found out it was Hodgkin's lymphoma, you hear they say your life flashes in front of your eyes, but it does. It does. And I had a problem with that as a 46-year-old with a different skill set of coping skills, having been through so much. The young man's 13 years old. You are witnessing really a travesty of modern politics, that the Democrats decided to make a political issue out of this young man's battle with cancer, who is unbelievably eloquent in his struggle, where he says, I don't know what's ahead. I didn't know what to do. I was coming home from Sloan Kettering after a really talented surgeon, Bhuv Singh was his name, amazing, at Sloan Kettering. I want to thank for cut this tumor out of my neck. And I was flying home 2 days later, And there was a guy on the plane, I don't know if I ever told you this, and he recognized me. I don't know if it's from Fox or the show or whatever, but he gave me kind of a nod, like I know what you're going through. And I don't care how this sounds or what, but I just broke down, man. It was hard. I just broke down. It all caught up to me then, you know. And this young man going through this, and the Democrats making a political football out of this, you are watching a total brand collapse of their party. I thought they were in it for the little guy. A damn shame. All right, I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll show you what I mean again, how this is really deeply impacting them badly. Their brand is entirely collapsed. Look, I got this note from Brickhouse Nutrition, and I got to tell you, it kind of hit me hard. Brickhouse has been with us for a long time. We've had a great business with them for nearly a decade. They were our first sponsor. I'm going to tell you right now, Miles, the guy who runs that company, loves this country. He loves this Bongino army, and he has been a loyal friend to me. You trusted their products just like I did. So as a thank you, they're doing something huge for you. For this week only, they're giving you guys the biggest discount they ever offered, 40% off everything. Lean, which I used to drop 30 pounds. I needed it. Field of Greens and all their top-of-the-line products. I use them. It's their way of saying thank you for being part of the Bongino and Brickhouse family for all this time. But this is just for you guys. It's only for this week. So go to brickhousenutrition.com/Dan. Use code Dan to get 40% off. They've had my back. We've had their back. They're showing their appreciation for us, and I really appreciate it. If you've ever bought before, you can still get 40% off with this deal. And thank you, Miles. This is really nice of you. Go to brickhousenutrition.com/Dan. Use my promo code Dan for 40% off. That's code Dan at brickhousenutrition.com/Dan. You guys are great. And next sponsor there, American Financing. Listen, I don't know your exact financial situation, but if you're like thousands of homeowners, American Financing talks to every month. Some of you are struggling to keep up, drowning in high-interest debt, and it's not your fault. Life just got really expensive. Inflation hits hard, and you're still carrying credit card balances with 20% plus interest rates while the mortgage sits untouched, and you're ignoring the one thing that could turn it all around, your home. American Financing can help. Would you trade 10 minutes for a shot at saving an average of $800 every single month? Because that's exactly what homeowners are doing when they call American Financing. A simple, no-obligation call could change everything. They have a team of salary-based mortgage consultants, so there isn't any incentive to put you in a loan that doesn't make sense, and there are no upfront fees to find out how much you can save. Call American Financing today and start feeling that relief. 888-994-7660. That's 888-994-7660, or visit them online at americanfinancing.net. AmericanFinancing.net, NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Hey, I'd be remiss also, again, just before I get started, if I did not thank my wife. I saw Paula this morning, and I was getting changed for work and ready to bounce out to the studio. And she is just, folks, if you could give her a little shout out in the chat, I'd really appreciate it. She is running around. We are doing so much, trying to move. We don't even have a place yet. The place we were going to get, it didn't work out. So we're actually moving right now to nowhere yet until we figure it out. She's over at the other house trying to get stuff for us. She's packing. She's just been doing so much, dealing with the transition of the business. So to my unbelievable, and by the way, threw this party for me this weekend. We had about 50 people show up. My team was there. So Paula, thank you so much for me, and I know that everybody watching feels the same way. You're amazing. I saw her this morning getting changed, and I said, hey, I'm sorry. And she said, you're sorry for what? I said, I'm sorry you married a guy like me, you know? And she's like, what do you mean? I said, you know, you could have married some rich doctor who works a 9 to 5 or something and stayed home, and you married a guy like me who was always, you know, throwing curveballs. I take that back, throwing knuckleballs. So you don't know where it's going to go. So I appreciate that. You're a good woman. Thank you. The best. All right. Man, folks, I'm telling you, the last week's going to be tough. So if you guys will just bear with me on this emotional roller coaster, I would so deeply appreciate it. I know you all understand. But we do have content to cover. So this is what I'm talking about. You're witnessing a total brand collapse of a party that prided itself, the Democrats in the past, of being the party of the little guy, the party of the working man. And in this effort to one-up the attacks on Donald Trump, what they've done is they've completely forfeited and unmoored their boat to that brand label. But here's the thing. It is okay to remake your party with a new brand. You want to go from the nice guy to the James Dean rebel? make the transition, hire a branding guy, whatever. The problem I see with the Democrats, and pay attention because this is the most important point I'm going to make on this, is they've unmoored themselves from their initial brand, working man, little guy, coexist, tolerance, whatever it may be, and they're now just drifting at sea. I mean it. I'll do a little test in the chat. Tell me in the chat right now what their new bumper sticker brand is. 3 words or less. What are the Democrats about now? The answer is nobody. Wokeism, maybe? Nobody really knows. Here, this is a TikTok video. TikTok's still a very powerful platform, whether we like it or not. Here's a TikTok influencer here. You could not pay me to be a Democrat again. This is what brand collapse looks like. Check this out.
You couldn't pay me to be a liberal again. You couldn't do it. After watching that speech, I am convinced that Democrats hate America. The way that they didn't stand for Laken Riley's mother, the way that they didn't stand for that little boy who has brain cancer, the way that they didn't stand for that young man who got accepted into West Point. Are you with me on this? The way that they hate America.
Yes, I know. I see the chat. I know I got a couple emails this weekend. I see the rage from the other side in the chat. But folks, don't fret. It's not it's a sign of something. What is one of the golden rules of this show? Always gauge the effectiveness of what you're doing by the response of your political opponents. That's why you're seeing the rage directed at the show. Click the views up before you leave. It's okay with us. Your brand's collapsing, not ours. We're doing just fine. I'll show it to you coming up in a minute because receipts matter. I will show it to you. But if you think that's the only one, you're like, oh my gosh, that's just one episode of this. One, they're all over TikTok. And I'm not telling you this is a scientific survey of Democrats and all that other stuff. I'm not telling you that. I am telling you, however, it's out there. It's very real. I don't know this person. But here's another one. A Democrat voter who wakes up after the State of the Union speech and watched that entire episode, watched the brand collapse. It's like, I don't want that. That's not my brand. Check this out.
I cannot tell you how refreshing it was to wake up this morning and hear from other Democrats and see on my post other Democrats who are just as furious and ready to friggin' jump ship as I am. I am not buying into what they're selling, because after what we saw yesterday, I'm actually glad that they pulled that yesterday, because people like me who have been disillusioned by the Democratic Party for a long time got to see an evilness there, got to see a diabolical side of the Democratic Party who's basically saying, we want you to fail. We don't care if you fail. It's like the scene in The Wizard of Oz when they finally go back to see the great Oz and they pull the curtain back and it's just a little old man just standing there like that doesn't have a fucking clue. I'm not going to be afraid to voice my opinion anymore. I'm done. I am done. And you're not going to bully me off my own page by thinking logical thoughts. I'm not going to be gaslit by my own party. Not one day more. Not one day more.
Do you notice she emphasizes the lack of fear moving forward? Are you guys and ladies out there catching the difference between 2016 and what I'm getting at is the first Donald Trump presidential term was such a shock to the system of the establishment, by the way, the right and the left, that it was kind of cool to be, remember the resistance and all of that? And then they got smoked so bad and realized that they lost the popular vote. Regardless of it was 50% or not, our movement, the MAGA movement, got more votes than you did. So if you're going to suggest you're popular, then just by sheer numbers, our movement is more popular, right? If you believe in just this thing called math. You see how now the entire resistance movement has completely collapsed, and now we're getting to the point where the second guy's getting up and dancing. Some of you will get that. And then the third guy. And now people are starting to realize whether it's I saw this thing, DEI, the whole office of DEI was shuttered at University of Virginia. It's all collapsing now. It's all collapsing around them as people realize their positions were never popular. They were never popular. And now all of a sudden, whatever the stupid word is, cool, it's edgy now to be on our side and not on their side. And everybody's starting to see it. I'll never forget after the election a couple months ago, was it Dana Perino on Fox, saying for the first time in a while, she had seen a bunch of red MAGA hats in New York City and no one was like throwing things at them like Game of Thrones ex-Giffy. Again, if you know, you know. I got more, including receipts. I'm going to show you again how this kind of show your butts theory here works, how they've been forcing the Trump era, they forced Democrats to take unpopular positions. They didn't force them. The Democrats have taken unpopular positions despite no force to do it. And they're just doing it because they have to one up each time. You'll see what I mean with this clip coming up next from CNN, no less. Our last break today, MyPillow is excited to announce they're having the first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on the season's flannel sheets. Queen size, only $59.98. King, $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 30% on the brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one Mike's worn every day. For over 20 years, they come in men's and women's. They're made right here in the USA. Get the 2025 six-piece My Towel set for only $29.98. The initial quantities are extremely limited, so get them now before they go. And their best-selling standard MyPillow, just $14.98. To take advantage of this first ever mega sale, go to mypillow.com. Use promo code Dan or call 1-800-637-4982. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship has sailed. Right now, every order ships absolutely free. Shop their first ever mega sale with free shipping on every order. Once again, go to mypillow.com. Use promo code Dan or call 1-800-637-4982. And our last spot before I get to that clip, you'll see, I always bring the receipts, folks. Beam, we've been working with them for a while. I want to introduce you to another one of their great products, Beam's Dream Capsules. Dream Capsules contain the same great ingredients that come together to help you bring you the best night's sleep, guaranteed. Beam is proudly founded in America and run by people who share our values, hard work, integrity, and delivering results. It's a science-backed nighttime blend packed with ingredients shown to improve sleep so you can wake up refreshed and ready to take on the day. Dream is made with powerful, all-natural blend of reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and melatonin. Beam's already helped to improve over 17.5 million nights of sleep, helping people across the country wake up and feel their best. Here's the deal. Beam is giving my listeners the ultimate Patriot discount of 47% off. Try their best-selling Dream Capsule. Get up to 47% off for a limited time. Go to shopbeam.com/Bongino. Use code Bongino at checkout. That's shopbeam.com/Bongino. Use code Bongino for up to 47% off. Support an American company. Invest in yourself and get a good night's sleep tonight. So here it is. Receipts here. Again, CNN segment, so you can't accuse me of some unnecessary partisan bias. This is definitely not a conservative outlet. Showing on this men and women's sports issue how the Democrats, despite the fact that they know this is an absolute loser, even Gavin Newsom, very far-left governor of California, is all of a sudden changing his mind on this now. You see how people are starting to get up and dance now? And the second person and the third person, the Democrats need that dancing movement too, or their party's going to be done. You're going to witness brand collapse that's going to be generational. Listen to these polling numbers on this specific issue. Check this out.
Such a clear trend among the American public. So transgender female athletes in women's sports, only 18% of the country says that they should be, in fact, allowed to participate in women's sports. Compare this to the opposition. I mean, my goodness gracious, 79%. You rarely get 79% of the country to agree on anything, but they do, in fact, agree on the idea of opposing transgender female athletes in women's sports.
They don't, I'm telling you, they don't care. I want you to witness this disparity, this brick wall between the two parties now, where you have this transactional president, Donald Trump, who sees the world as a spreadsheet, whether you like it or not. He wants results. He's not interested in flowery speeches. Then you've got the Democrats lost in this passion and emotion. If for an issue, they're willing to die on this hill, that Americans are against them resoundingly by a massive margin. You're talking about they'd have to make up 30 polling points to get back to 50-50. By the way, Thank you, Mozina 14. I'm going to miss you, Dan. I'm going to miss you guys, too. Annie gives a shout-out to Paula. I really appreciate it. I'm trying to read as many of these as I can during the clips. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much. They love the new studio. You guys like it? I know who said it looked like Crowder's with the brick wall in back? Those are New York City bricks. For those for those who missed the Friday or Thursday show, last week, the flag, that was from the Patriot Awards when I was with Fox. The badge next to it is a inaugural Secret Service badge from when George W. Bush won. The next one over there, you see the American flag, is a delighted American. We got a lot of American flag. We love America, of course. We got the hard American flag, the Patriot Awards. That is my Secret Service badge next to it from when it was with the Treasury Department in Lucite. Got a series of great books in there. Got all the civil rights amendments there. Got the Bongino baseball, Auburn basketball signed by the team. Bo Jackson signed helmet, got to represent Auburn. My books at the bottom. And, of course, a Muttley and Rock'em Sock'em robots. Man, you guys are good at this. Look at it. Now, what are you showing them, the ceiling now, too? Oh, of course. And that is going out to Anita and the crew. You guys can take that with you, the famous Fugazi head, which I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of him over the next few years. I'm sure he'll have a lot to add to the conversation. Hey, here is this is probably my favorite clip of the entire show. This is the one, no, you guys like this one, okay? They wanted to cut out a different one. If there has ever been a gift to the MAGA movement, on the other side of the aisle, folks, it is Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. This is so transformational for us. If more Democrats would emulate the Jasmine Crockett style of speaking out publicly, passionately about things she has no idea, it would be a huge boon to the polling numbers for our side. Now, here's Jasmine Crockett, who unbelievably says on a cable news network that entering the country illegally is not illegal. Entering the country, she uses the word illegally. In case you think I'm crazy, I'll play it for you. Entering the country illegally is illegal because you entered the country illegally in violation of the law. I'll show it to you coming up next, what the actual code is. Community notes struck again. But here, listen to it first.
It is not a criminal violation to enter the country illegally. It's not a criminal. It's a crime. It's not a crime, which is why they're so frustrated.
Thank you, Elon Musk, again, for the glorious Community Notes feature. Yes, it is a crime. C8 United States Code, Section 1325, 1325. You can look it up yourself, of course, if you'd like, but don't let facts get in the way of a silly argument. She literally said, and oh man, I use that word, I hate it. It is not illegal, or excuse me, it's not against the law to enter the country illegally. I encourage you to slow down and think about what you just stated.
It's not a crime, which is why there's a crime. It's not a crime, which is a crime. It's not a crime.
No, it is. It is. The gift that keeps on giving. I'm going to predict something, though. Did I say this before, guys? That there is going to be, mark this down, mark it down. I won't be here to comment on it later.
They're so frustrated.
I can almost guarantee you, Jasmine Crockett and AOC are going to turn into rivals soon. Because I don't think AOC likes it that Jasmine Crockett has taken her place as the greatest Democrat gift to Republicans. I don't think she likes it. I don't. She's getting all this attention, Congresswoman Crockett now, at the expense of AOC, who was the gift that kept on giving in the past. I'm serious. I'm not kidding. I think they're going to turn into rivals. Folks, the left, of course, cannot get their sea legs about them. You've seen this disorganized kind of attack style back, the show your butts thing, the position on the men and women's sports issue. You're seeing how bad it is. It's got to be bad when Gavin Newsom, who has been traditionally the left-wing lodestar for the left. I mean, this guy, he's been kind of like an anchor for leftist policies and insulated in the state of California. When Gavin Newsom starts to recognize how the Republicans are working, flooding the zone, what we call rock'em sock'em robots, what Bannon calls flood the zone. I don't care what you call it. When he starts recognizing that, you know what we're doing is right. He understands this is the only way to roll. Here, listen to him on his new podcast. He had Charlie Kirk on as a guest. Check this out.
I think you talked about it the other day. A lot of folks were talking about that Carville article where he talked about
roll over and play dead.
Roll over. In essence, he said that. I think it was a strategic retreat, right? That we need to come back. Trump's starting to implode. His numbers are getting soft. This was even before the tariff issues, et cetera. And then come back and strike when hot. And I immediately, no BS, thought about you, who's just 24/7 flooding the zone, owning this space, every day getting a convert, every day picking up 1, 2, 10,000 folks, continuing the momentum, coming out of this damn election. And then I'm thinking about, we're going to stand back and watch you run circles around us for 6 months, the next 2 or 3 years, waiting for the moment to finally strike.
Let me just throw something out there, by the way. It was very limited, but I saw some criticism on social media that Charlie did this interview with Gavin Newsom. I don't know. I don't. Tell me in the chat. You guys, obviously, you're the only thing that matters, the show, while I'm with you this last week. I have zero problem whatsoever. If I was staying in this space, which I'm not, I'm going to tell you right now, I'd go on the show. Why not? What I don't understand with the criticism of Charlie is if we're not willing to go on a show like that where some third party may be listening, right? In other words, it's not a liberal or a Democrat. It's a seemingly kind of nonpartisan third party guy who can go either way. And we can just flip a few of them and move them over. That's how Donald Trump was so successful. I said that to rewind the tape. Go back. This is live, so we can't. But if we could, I would have. If we were taping this, I would delete that. Donald Trump won the way he won precisely because he went places and talked to people that we hadn't spoken to before. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me in the chat, Bot Gino, one of our last polls. Yes, Charlie was right to go on the show. No, he wasn't. I'm telling you he was. Donald Trump went to the Bronx. Donald Trump was doing rallies in traditionally left-wing areas. Donald Trump got historic numbers of black, Hispanic voters, Democrats, union workers, flipping over constituencies that had always gone lockstep for the left. Let me see. What's the results, guys? Does this talkback work? Hold on. Did that work? Yes, look at that.
Yes, it worked.
Hey, look at this, guys. We got a talkback thing. Now, does it mute the mic here? Sorry, can you guys hear this? Okay, no, they can't. I'm in love with all this new tech. These guys are teaching me all these new gizmos. We didn't even have a cough button last time. But when I was coughing all over the place. And by the way, I have been cursing Guy. He gave me some fungus cold last week he had, and I had it Wednesday, Thursday, and then I'm finally getting over this thing. He came in the studio, coughing all over the place, using the cough button. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, okay, good. You all agree with me. We're not going to convince people on the other side that our ideas are better if we're not willing to take our ideas to the other side and convince them they're better. It doesn't even make any sense. And what better time to do it than now? Listen, we have mastered the Republican Party, the MAGA movement. Let me be specific. The Republicans are coming around. The MAGA movement has mastered the art of social media influencing, whether it's memes, whether it's videos. They have mastered this. They are so good. It's not but seconds before Democrats post cringy videos. You saw the fight one. I was going to play it today, but you've seen it 1,000 times. Like, pick your fighter. It's AOC, like, posing. It's ridiculous. The video is so dumb. Even CNN was like, did we really need to see this right now? Of course we didn't, right? But believe it or not, here's another one. This is Democrat Rep. Rosa DeLauro posting a cringe video. Now, listen to me. Here's the thing they're not telling you. You may have seen this already, but I want you to listen to the kind of the lingo she uses. I will bet you some young staffer went to a TikTok video and was like, hey, man, let's do like Urban Dictionary and get some cool words in here and throw them in and we'll look like we're part of the crew. Folks, you're trying too hard if you're doing that. You're trying too hard. Listen, you'll hear the words and you'll be like, what does she mean by that? Check this out.
Yo, this is the Ranking Rizzler on appropriations, serving Connecticut's 3rd District. It's time to enter your dark academia Congress era. All right, besties, House appropriation is the money moves in Congress. We are not chasing the bag, we are the bag. Democrats are making life smoother through government funding. It's giving, it's giving. So Sigma, main character energy. But Republicans' project 2025 is mad sus.
Sorry.
Hello, fellow kids.
I know. I'm trying to write down all the kind of edgy, cool lingo words that Rosa DeLauro. So she's can you guys look this up? What is the Rizzler? Can we do this on the air? Because I don't know. I heard some of these other ones, but is the Rizzler, is it like, I hope it's not some like dark, like triple, like the Rizzler is a social media well known for Riz face. Oh, I've heard of the Riz before, like charisma. It's like short for, but have you guys ever said that? Like, damn, what a show today. You're the Rizzler. I never. So we got the Rizzler. She throws bestie in. Okay, bestie, like best friend. I've heard my daughter say that. So we'll give her a pass on bestie. And then she quotes main character energy. I saw this once on TikTok. I found out like this is like kind of like you're like the guy, like the chest puffer in the room. You have main character energy. I saw one time a TikTok video and they were talking about showing up to a wedding with main character energy. And then we're not chasing the bag. We are the bag. Who's the bag? What's in the bag? Is there something in the bag I'm unaware of? Is there an actual bag or is this just some kind of rhetorical bag I missed? But I think from now on, we will try to incorporate at least once a day in every show the term the Rizzler. I'm kidding, of course.
She also said skibbity.
Oh, skibbity. What is skibbity? I don't know what that is.
It actually doesn't mean anything, I don't think.
Oh, is that, folks in the chat, can you help me? I know we have a lot of younger viewers. What is skibbity? Is that supposed to mean something? Skibbity. Can you mix them? Can you be like the skibbity Rizzler bestie with main character energy holding the bag? Is that possible to put them all in one sentence, or is that way too much? Influencer era. But you know what, Michael? We need your esposa right now. Evita is familiar with all this stuff. She doesn't talk like that, but Evita is all over the whole culture stuff. Her and Haley are going to be all over this stuff. They know what this is like. Can you have her?
Bring Haley for like a live translation next time.
Can you do that? Can you have Haley maybe this week on our 6 p.m. show? Skibbity, also called Skibbity Toilet, is a popular catchphrase, came from a YouTube video. It has no inherent meaning, but it's often used for comedic effect. So let's see if it's funny. Hey guys, Skibbity. Okay, no, it's really not. It's really not. Skibbity doo.
Too bad we don't have another sponsor for me to transition you into.
Oh, Guy is, I know. Guy's like dying. He's like, okay, I've had enough of this. Okay. This is one of those Leo Getz moments from Lethal Weapon 3, right? Okay. All right, moving on. Folks, they're singing again. Again, back to the, let's anchor this again, what this segment is about, because you know me, once I get into something, I can't stop sometimes because I find it hilarious. They cannot get their sea legs. They are so off on the messaging rather than getting back to the post-George H.W. Bush, Ronald Reagan era when they re-anchored themselves to the Democrat Leadership Council in mainstream kind of Democrat values. They can't do it. They're singing again. Here was an anti-Trump science rally. I'm not sure, like the science, like wear your mask or take the vaccine is going to stop you from getting COVID. Here's an anti-Trump science rally in D.C. And the singing. What is with the singing? At least make it good singing. Check this out.
Please sing along with us. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
Wait, Guy's telling me that's not even it? There's another one? Remember Francis Collins? Remember him with all the emails about the Barrington Declaration during COVID, which basically said common sense that the only thing that was going to stop this was some form of herd immunity? You remember this guy? Here's Francis Collins. Listen, if you're going to sing, can we all agree? Yes or no in the chat? We only got 1 week of chatting together left. Yes or no in the chat? I'm actually not totally against the singing, but you got to bring out people who can actually sing. You got yourself a Morgan Wallen out there? Hey, man, I may not agree. I'll listen to that. I don't want to listen to Francis Collins. Check this out.
Well, come on. All the good people who are part of this family, this is a song for all the good people. We're joined together by this noble dream.
He's like, there's no amount of studio cleanup we can do, mixing or anything else, to make that sound good. There's no auto-tune or anything.
Yeah, there is. It's called mute.
Yeah, mute. Yes, that's a good point, Justin. There is actually a way to make that sound good. He's calling it the... You can't hear me talk. That's the only way to make that sound good. Folks, they cannot get their sea legs. But again, anchoring where we started in the segment, the MAGA movement is really, really good at this. And it's hilarious to listen to or read, in this case, Forbes put a headline in. Vice President J.D. Vance posts a meme of himself. He didn't even call him vice president. It says J.D. Vance. As largely unflattering Vance memes flood social media. Unflattering? Do you have any idea how the meme game works? Listen, I'm going to tell you something. I know we laugh a lot during the show. Obviously, there's a heavy dose of sarcasm. I get that. But I promise you, the things we talk about and the things that are going through my head as me and the team are putting the show together are deadly serious. The education issue, the idea of re-anchoring our government and actual science, serious stuff.
Chat likes me.
But we live in a world right now where social media matters, memes and other things do. They influence people. You may not like it, but that's where we are. There has not been a president or vice president who's understood this better than Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. No one. Vance is hilarious, and you don't have to like it, but this thing went nuclear this weekend. If you've ever seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, this, by the way, is one of my favorite memes, Giphies I've ever seen on X. J.D. Vance put his face over the famous Leo face. We love this. I wish I could explain to you, if you're in the chat, what this is. But it's one of those things, guys, wouldn't you agree? You just have to be on X or Truth to see it. After a few times, you'll get what they're doing. I can't explain it. But if you know, you know. And this one was absolutely hilarious. Hey, can we jump ahead to just Kristi Noem on CBS? I don't want to leave the show today without getting to that. Would you mind? Okay, this is important because we're going to be discussing a lot of national security stuff this week. It obviously matters to me. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem was on CBS. My apologies for the mic discipline. Believe me, I know. See how when I get away from the mic, you can't hear me anymore? We didn't have that in the other studio. So the reason it sounds crisp is because of what they did to manipulate the system. The downside is you really have to eat the microphone. So I even have it over here. Look, on mic. Stay on the mic because I'm such an animated guy. Am I? Thank you, Guy. Wow, Guy, a compliment. I never get a compliment from Guy. He's like, you actually did a very nice job. Never. That is not a Guy thing at all. Here is the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem about tariffs and the fentanyl trafficking coming into the country. This stuff matters because it is a specific, late 1970s statute Donald Trump is using and his team, President Trump, to impose these tariffs. That's why this is important. Check this out.
In the conversations that I've had this week with Canadian officials, they were hoping to avoid the tariffs and had a lot of conversations, but not a lot of action. So this is the hope, is that the fact that President Trump has said something and now has enforced consequences, we really are hoping for even better partnerships. We need access to their criminal background system so that we know when someone crosses that northern border, who they are, why they're in our country, and who they may be partnering with. We also need them to work with us on identifying packages, technology investments. Canada has said they will do that. Mm-hmm. We just want to see them actually do it. In the past, promises have been made by both Mexico and Canada that they didn't follow through on. Their naming of a fentanyl czar in Canada is important. That's great. Now let's see really what happens. President Trump's been strong, and I think that's why you've seen the data going our direction. Mm-hmm. But boy, every day people in this country are dying of overdoses, and I don't want any more families to have to deal with that tragedy if it can be avoided and we can have a stronger relationship.
Folks, we're going to need some cooperation from Canada and Mexico to our north and south, respectively, in this drug fight. There's no question about it. However, Canada, just this weekend, Mark Carney, who is very liberal, took the place of Justin Trudeau. Carney came out very combative, extremely combative. I say that because this administration If you fell into the trap of, well, take them seriously, but not literally, you're making a big mistake. Whether it's Secretary Noem, whether it's President Trump or Vice President Vance, they are deadly serious about this. They want this stopped, and they're going to use every tool they have to make it stop. Sex trafficking, drug trafficking, they're going to, you don't have to agree with it, but they're going to do it. And you have grossly misjudged their intentions if you're taking them seriously, but not literally. And Carney came out unbelievably combative. He's going to say, I'm protecting Canadian interests, fine. But it's in Canadian interest to get these tariffs reduced. It's in our interest to get your tariffs on our products reduced, fix this fentanyl problem, fix the trafficking problem, fix the illegal immigration problem, and then everybody's happy in our hemisphere. But don't make that mistake. You better take them seriously and literally. Folks, don't miss Haley's show tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, live here, the Evening Scroll with Haley Karania, her first full live show tonight. Really looking forward to seeing that. Thank you all for tuning in. By the way, if you want to give her a follow, Anita and the crew, put this link up if you would mind, the radio show, rumble.com/Avita for Avita's show, rumble.com/Haley, Hayley. Just give them a follow on Rumble. We really appreciate it. I will see you on the radio show here in a little bit and back here tomorrow as we wrap the week up at 11 a.m. Eastern Time live. And wait, one final thing. Thank you to my team, Paula, Jasmine, Guy, Michael, and Justin. You give them a little applause in the chat for really on a super compressed timeline. Thank you, guys. There you go. Thank you so much for putting together I swore there were going to be gremlins today. You guys did an amazing job, really hiccup free. So thank you very much. See you guys back here tomorrow at 11 a.m.
You just heard The Dan Bongino Show.